and thank you for joining us today for the exercise and physical activity presentation. As we go through, we're going to talk about exercise and physical activity interchangeably. There is a slight difference between them, although the research really is focusing on the movement component. But just to reduce any confusion, I wanted to make sure that we clarify. Exercise is more of a dedicated or structured physical activity. So this is when you're taking an exercise class or going out for a walk, doing something specifically where you've set that time away to be active. Versus physical activity is truly any time that you're moving your body. So this could be gardening, this could be walking your dog, this could be doing yard work, moving around, doing laundry. We're being active, we're moving our body, and that's a broader umbrella term than the specific exercise component within there. In terms of the benefits of physical activity, they are numerous. Physical activity is truly our magic pill that we always look for when treating health conditions. And so the more physical activity that we can do, in most cases, the better. So there certainly is a limiting factor there. We don't have to do nonstop exercise every day, but we definitely want to make sure that we do have some physical activity in all of our days. Some of the things that you can see on this slide are documented benefits of physical activity. So we know that it is very important in both losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight. Time and time again, the studies show that we can't do it just from what we're taking in through nutrition alone, that we have to have that exercise component to have a healthy weight loss program. Physical activity is also just as effective as antidepressants in treating mild and moderate depression. Since those initial findings, we've also found that physical activity and exercise are an excellent preventer of depression in the first place. The more recent information and research coming out shows that it's also highly effective in dealing with anxiety. So physical activity can reduce your risk for both acute and chronic anxiety issues. And we know, of course, that physical activity is excellent for stress reduction. Our natural stress response, that fight or flight response, gears our body up to being physically active, either by running away or staying and fighting. And so by doing any sort of physical activity, we know that that can help reduce that stress response in our body. Exercise is also a key component for building strong, healthy bones and reducing your risk of osteoporosis, keeping our muscles strong. So it does get harder for our bodies to hold on to muscle mass as we age. Certainly not impossible by any means. We know that we can continue adding muscle to our body well into our 90s and 100s, but it just becomes more of a mindful matter. We need to make sure that we are doing something in order to add that muscle mass instead of just relying on it to be there when we need it. We also say that physical activity is excellent for the joints. There's a saying, motion is lotion. With those joints, if you're not using them and keeping them moving around and loose, they will get stiff. And so physical activity is excellent for being able to keep those joints active and moving. Physical activity also boosts your energy level. I won't lie to you, this does not happen on day one. When you start or increase an activity program, you may actually feel more tired. It does take about 2 to 4 weeks in order to kind of get over that hill and start seeing the extra boost of energy that comes with it. So know that it's sometimes a bit of a delay on that one and just keep at it. It will come. The research around brain function also shows that exercise is critical for that. We know in the short term, doing even a little bit of physical activity boosts your executive functions. So that's part of our brain or the processing area that allows us to get focused and organized and be able to zero in on a task at hand. The Alzheimer's Association also came out and said that exercise is the #1 thing you can do for better brain health in terms of preventing or delaying the onset of Alzheimer's. So we know that it has those long-term impacts as well when we stay physically active. And then sleep. I told you at the beginning, when you start or increase an exercise program, that it's going to exhaust any of those remaining energy stores. So that definitely helps with your sleep quality. But we also know from studies that those that exercise regularly report better sleep at night. And then the flip side of that, on a positive piece, is that if you're sleeping better at night, then you have more energy the next day for being active and exercising. Exercise also reduces pretty much every chronic condition that there is, reduces your risk of those chronic conditions. Exercise is also fantastic in terms of management. So if you already have one of these chronic conditions, by being active and having exercise as a regular part of your schedule will also help you keep these things in better control. In addition to those chronic conditions, we know that exercise boosts your immune system, and that makes you less likely to suffer from those acute illnesses that we have, the cold, flu, other viruses and bacterial infections, because your body is better able to fight those off. This is one of my favorite graphics. In the public health world, what we say now is that sitting is the new smoking. We have done excellent work as a population on reducing smoking rates, and we've seen the impact of that across so many different health categories. But now, with the way that our lifestyles are set up, it's very easy for us to be sedentary for a vast majority of our day. There's more conveniences like drive-through car washes or microwave ovens, remote controls for your TV, and many other things that you need. And so we don't have to get up and move like we used to. And what has happened is we've found that the longer that we sit over the course of the day, the higher the risk is of dying from any reason. So you'll see on the top part of this chart here, in that red zone, that's the highest risk of mortality or death. And you can see that also coordinates with the highest level of daily sitting time. Okay. So what we want to do is try to move more. You'll see it doesn't take very much activity before we start seeing that positive impact. In fact, one of my favorite studies shows that for those that are doing absolutely no physical activity, if they increase it to just 70 minutes a week, which is 10 minutes a day on average, their risk of dying for any reason drops by 20%. And the benefits continue to build until we get up to a certain level. So our goal is that everybody exercises for about 150 minutes a week, which is around 22 minutes a day. And we do see incremental improvements if we go beyond that. There are 4 different categories of exercise, and we want to make sure that we're trying to fit into all of these different categories. Each one of them has different benefits. The flexibility ones are going to keep those joints loose and mobile. The balance ones are going to reduce our risk of falling. 1 in 3 older adults falls every year, and we know that the consequences of that can be severe in some cases. The strength training keeps our muscles strong and builds up that not only balance, but also our ability to stay independent, because we can pick up those laundry baskets and manage our way around the kitchen carrying pots and pans and those sorts of things. And the endurance exercises are the ones that we typically think of when we're doing physical activity. Those are the ones that get our breathing and our heart rate up, and that's truly where the vast majority of the research around the benefits of exercise comes from. It is important, as I mentioned, to make sure that we're getting something from all of these different categories of exercise. Not only does that reduce your risk of boredom, but it also helps prevent injury, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, then that can tax us if we're not allowing our body time to recuperate from that. I thank you for joining us today. We do have more information on the exercise topic in each of those 4 specific categories of exercise that you can find out on our website. And if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our contact information is located at thevillageshealth.com/learning-center.